You guys, I want to shift your perspective today. I want to give you a new lens on how you're going to go about achieving absolutely everything in life. And using this, you will achieve everything in life, no question about it. And I want to start this video by saying everything you desire, everything you want in life, whether it's the best relationships, whether it's the business, whether it's the finance, whether it's the physique, whether it's that inner peace, that inner freedom, you've got to stop chasing it. And you've got to understand that everything you want already exists. It already exists, and it's simply on a frequency. So imagine your life like right now, everything you can ever imagine on any level. It all exists, and it's just on radio station 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right now, you may have already gone through a transformative period and gone from 1 to 4 or 1 to 6. But I know you guys are like me. You're visionaries. You chase potential. That's God's gift. Your conscience. Your conscience is your gift from God. What you do with it is your gift to God. And in order to be a real man, you must action that gift. You must action those directions internally. And yes, we've got to be grateful. You know, you've already been gifted with going from level 1 to level 6. But your work ethic reflects your gratitude. And now it doesn't mean you're ungrateful for where you are. You should still praise yourself for the hard work. Praise God for the directions that you've taken, maybe subconscious or conscious. But now it's your duty to go from level 6 to level 20, from level 20 to 100 and 1,000 and 1,000,000, and keep going. You know, that's what it's all about. And now what we need to do is we need to understand, right, if we want to keep going to those levels, which is our duty, it's our purpose, self-actualization, become the best version of ourselves, follow our conscience, follow those directions, close the gap between thought, heart, mind and heart correlation, congruency, and action. And give that back to the world. That's our purpose. Back to the world can be in our energy. It can be in our aura. I can give back to the world, to you guys via a video. I can give back to the world without being conscious of it. I can give back to the world by walking into a cafe today as a high frequency individual, going in there with aura, with energy radiating out of me that everybody else senses on as I go in there. I'm giving it back to the world. Energy is undeniable. Aura is undeniable. Now, most of you guys, you're wanting the outcomes without being in the frequency. So that's the first shift we need to make. You're wanting to be this current you. You're wanting to be aligned with where you currently are, but you're wanting a result which is only possible on frequency level 100. So the question now we really need to be asking is, because the most successful people are just very good at asking questions, I'm going to ask the question for you and answer it right now. How do I get to that frequency? How do I raise my frequency? Now, let's restructure that. What is frequency? What establishes your frequency? It's going to be a combination of 4 things. It's going to be your thoughts. It's going to be your beliefs. It's going to be your habits. And it's going to be your actions. And they all feed each other in like a figure of 8 multiplied by 4. And we need to get those aligned. And we need to compound those by being aligned. Now, where do I want to start with this? The first place I want to start in order to get your thoughts, your beliefs, your habits and your actions aligned with the frequency of the things that we want. First of all, you need clarity on what do you want, which is really important. And you're also now going to give yourself permission to have it. Okay? The willingness to have is much easier than the willingness to act. So most people don't like the idea of acting, just forcing action. And therefore that's why you are where you are. But the willingness to have, the acceptance to have something is much easier, and to see yourself with that state. This is why, guys, in my daily habits, TP7 daily habits, I live and breathe these. These are what I teach to my clients, my elite fitness and mindset clients and my elite business clients. All of them follow the personal blueprint. The second thing in there after the early wake up is the AM alignment and the AM assumptions, assuming that you already have the outcome you want. Seeing yourself go through that entire day as if you already have everything that you want. You're going to see every detail, almost like this AM assumptions is almost like you are writing down it in copy the exact details of everything you see from the second you open your eyes to the second you go to sleep when you are living your dream life. From everything you see on the walls, to the building, to the view, to who you're around, to how you're communicating, to the processes, to the actions, to how you're going through work, to how productive you are, to how many coffees a day you drink, to the supplements you take, to the food you eat, to the conversations you have. I want you to get so clear on this full day as if you already have it and you're giving that script to a movie director. And the movie director is now going to film this so you can watch it. Now, just by you writing this down and getting clear on this, well, you've got a brain, guys. You've got an imagination. You can create that movie in your mind right now. And that's what's really powerful. And this is where everything starts with frequency, is just the intention to have, the willingness to have. The second you accept what you want is yours, is when you will start to create that and manifest that externally. You know, most people wait for the future. And when you wait for the future, you are waiting on nothing coming. You are just waiting, guys. Until you actually change what I am telling you right now, nothing changes if nothing changes. What you want to do, guys, is you want to grab the future and insert it in your present. We want to insert the having it in our present with the alignment and with the frequency of as if we already had it. The thoughts, the beliefs, the habits and the actions, i.e. the processes. So when you watch yourself going through that day, it's not just, I want a luxury villa. It's how are you operating through that day? What are you seeing yourself do? What are the actions you're taking? I guarantee you, you don't see yourself scrolling on TikTok. You don't see yourself binge eating takeaways, drinking alcohol, having conversations with losers, right? It's all going to be high frequency. Thoughts, beliefs, habits, and actions. You won't be doubting yourself. So we want to bring that future state to the present with the willingness to have. Now what that does, guys, is that then creates something powerful. That then creates something called inspired intention. And inspired intention will mean that you don't now even need to try to act. You have from your heart a willingness and intention to act. Now, some people will call this motivation, because people think motivation is like, how much do I want something? No, it's not. It's how much action are you taking? So you are simply now just going to be inspired to act because you're in alignment with it. If you are having something, but you're not doing what the guy having it does, there will be a disalignment and you will pull towards it. So you're going to align with that state. Now, right now, if you're just seeing what your senses see in your current reality, let's say you're in your house in your hometown with an average physique and you've got a very average bank account, a very average business, Well, the problem is, guys, you are just seeing that and you're aligned with that and you are just going to stay in the same place. You can be busy every day and you will just keep repeating history. So what we do, guys, by working inside out, back to front, from that assumption of having, that raises our frequency through the thoughts, beliefs, the actions, and the habits of as if we already had it. Okay, now then our only duty is to keep repeating this process daily. Don't just do this once and forget about it. You wake up every day, you assume it's yours, and you align your thoughts, beliefs, your habits, and your actions. The way to reinforce this and put this on steroids, guys, is to get in the room with someone that has already achieved what you want, has already achieved the level of fitness, the mindset, the business, the lifestyle, the relationships that you want, so they can navigate you through the state. I hear it all the time. Tom, oh yeah, I know what I'm doing with my fitness and with my business and I've got a good mindset. Where are the results then? Because you guys only know what you know. This is applicable to everybody. You guys only know what you know. And you know everything you know, but you don't know what you don't know. Deep that, guys. And the more you know, the less you realize you know. So what we need to do is we need to force that change. We need to drop ego. We need to be coachable. And we need to get into a very realistic state as a man where we do drop that ego and we say, no, the only state of actually knowing is when we have. So you want to be assuming the having, but also putting into your proximity others that do have, that can show you and navigate you through that path. And that's exactly what we do. My weekly calls with my elite fitness and mindset clients, and even my elite business clients, because we cover the business mindset required to grow the business, they're so powerful. And the questions that get asked are all the tiny little roadblocks that you guys are going to face along the way, that for me are just like clockwork, because I've been through everything you guys have been through. And it's running into these little problems by taking action, and then getting that new lens on every tiny little piece, these 0.1%, new lens, run with it, new lens. And every day you're building a better version of you through this action, through this inspired intention. And every day you're now a new version of you. So now compound the new version of you from today moving forward. That's going to pull you towards those results. Most people say, oh, I'm 25 years old, this hasn't happened. I'm 30, this hasn't happened. I'm 20, I'm 40, this hasn't happened. Well, no, we need to create the best version of you every day, upgrade them every day, and compound the new version of you through exposure. Now, as a byproduct of doing these and following these daily habits that I teach my guys, you are raising your frequency. High frequency thoughts, beliefs, habits, and actions create a high frequency individual. It's not rocket science, right? But the second part to this, guys, is we have to also remove vices. A lot of people I see start to implement some of the good stuff, which is really important, but they also still have vices. And some of your vices, guys, are going to be in blind spots. I have guys say to me, Tom, I don't have any vices. And from the outside, it might not look like there's vices, but I see their blind spots, and there's vices. There are things. Vices can be in the thought of thoughts. And you might not know that new lens of thinking. In fact, I guarantee you don't, because you would already be where you want to be. A vice could be a certain belief. A vice could be procrastination. A vice could be overeating. A vice could be the drugs, the alcohol. A vice could be knowing you need to start working on something and you put it off and you go scroll TikTok and you say, I'm going to do it tomorrow. A vice may be not investing in yourself when you know you need to. A vice is, for certain, your conscience telling you something and you not taking action on it. Okay? We have to remove these vices. A vice could be sex. A vice could be porn. A vice could be jerking off. So what we need, guys, to create this high frequency individual is we need the entirety of your day high frequency. High frequency individuals come from high frequency thoughts, beliefs, habits, and actions. So we need to fill your day with high frequency things. and remove from your day the low frequency things. What is a low frequency thing? It's the vices. It's what creates a vice. Let's go deeper down that little rabbit hole a second. When you fall into a state of boredom. Okay, a great example, guys. It's Wednesday right now. And Wednesdays and Fridays for me are very chill, they're very relaxed. You know, I wake up nice and early, 3 a.m. I finished my business blueprint by 7 a.m., 8 a.m., and then I have the whole day pretty much free. Okay? Now, that could create me a state of boredom for the rest of the day. And what comes in boredom is vices. But I have the self-awareness to recognize that, you know, like a lot of the day as well, though, I'm going to be having, you know, inquiries coming through, and I'm going to be getting back to people and helping them come through. Like here, guys, you can just see I'm getting questionnaires submitted from you guys joining the, this guy's just, one of the guys here is in the elite business, one's in the elite fitness. And this is all little stuff that comes through. But in those little gaps, it could create boredom. So I have to then be self-aware and make sure that I come back to something, even if I finished my blueprint, I come back to something else which is always aligned with my process and the guy I want to become. Because if you're not on your process to becoming better, you will fall into a low frequency state. You are never neutral, guys. You are never staying in the same place. You are either moving towards your goal or you're moving away from your goal. You are high or low frequency. There is no neutral actions that just keep you in the same place. You're going backwards or forwards. We can accelerate how fast forwards and backwards as well. But it would be very easy for me. You know, I see this with guys all the time. They start winning a little bit. You know, like for me, I know I live a lot of guys' dreams. I know I'm at chapter 100, but I now see chapter 1000, and I'm in no different position. Everything I preach to you guys, I live myself. I'm assuming the next level. I'm following my conscience. I'm doing God's duty. Okay? And it would be very easy for me to just stop being in the process. Like if I go on my Stripe right now, it's 11 a.m. in the morning. I finished my blueprint hours ago. From the last two days of Stripe, well, last night into this morning, I have 44,000 dirhams of cash collected within less than 24 hours. So from last night into today, we're at 44,000 dirhams, 44,944 dirhams. So it would be very easy for me to just, for relativity, guys, for the conversion, that's roughly 10,000 UK. Okay, 9,500 UK for transparency, or maybe $12,000. Now, it would be very easy for me to just come to vices. I see it all the time. You know, guys start winning, they start losing some body fat, they start earning some more money, and then they drop away from the processes that allowed them to win by being high frequency. The habits that made them high frequency made them win, and then they stop doing those things because they have the output, and they're seeing the output as the validation, they're seeing the output as the win, when in fact it was the habits, the thoughts, the beliefs, and the actions. Okay, when I win, guys, the difference is I want to win more. I see bigger. I want more processes. Now, any number on this phone, this is just a fucking thing. Life just is. It's just a fucking phone. It's just numbers, right? That none of this, I have zero emotion to anything I have in my life. Okay, the only thing I have emotion to is my daily process. I only feel good when I only have that inner peace when I'm doing my daily process. There is no amount of money any individual can pay me, right? Or any outcome in life that makes me feel really good and is a fixed state. Because that would be working outside in, and then you're in an emotional wreck. We always work inside out, and we work inside out by using our thoughts, beliefs, habits, and actions. So by me understanding this and staying more process focused because I intrinsically want to feel high frequency, I'm then remaining high frequency and win even bigger on an external level. This is such a huge transformative shift that I've even noticed over the last 12 months for myself has been huge. Not seeing an external thing and kind of coming away from the process, just being addicted to being a high frequency individual. And when you optimize your thoughts, beliefs, habits, and actions to just be high frequency, you get high frequency results and you can't stop winning. So all your focus right now needs to be around, how do I stay and gain and increase my frequency? You need to be around high frequency individuals. There are 3 things that every man should work on, women as well. 3 areas that guarantee you will be a high frequency individual and will succeed on the highest level. But we're not focusing on the success, we're focusing on being high frequency. And the first one of those 3 things is your habits. High frequency habits. This is what we coach our guys. Early wake up, the alignment and the assumptions in the morning, understanding the things you want to have, the acceptance of having, creating that inspired intention, the alignment, God's directions in the morning. Your macros, hitting your macros. Your macros are pure mindset, as well as creating as a byproduct the external physique. Your macros are alignment. Your macros are feeding the body high performance, okay? You've got your weight session. You've got your body weight exercise to raise your frequency midday as it starts to drop down. Reading, feeding your mind. Again, you see all these habits, guys. These are on the process of growth. These all move you towards your goals. Remember, if you're not doing these things, you're moving away from your goals. So we want to be filling our day with these things. You get another spare hour, go hit another body weight workout. You get another spare hour, go hit another audiobook session. Go on another walk, go on another run. Always be doing habits that move you forwards. And subtract the vices. So part 1 is the habits, high frequency habits with the details optimized for you. You want your training optimized for you. You want your macros optimized for you. You want to understand how to specifically do your morning alignment and assumptions for you to create the exact vision you want to create. The second thing is who you listen to. You want to be a high frequency individual? Well, who are you listening to? Who are you influenced by? If you're influenced by your parents who haven't created the life you want, you will be a low frequency individual. If you're listening to your friends who also don't have it, no matter how good a game they talk, you will be a low frequency individual. If you listen to colleagues who also don't live the life aligned to your purpose, you will be a low frequency individual. If you also go on platforms like YouTube, but you listen to guys who are just solely focused on one thing, which is money, you will be a low frequency individual. You think money makes you high frequency, that's working outside in. You want to be around, you want to be only influenced by people who live the exact life you want externally, but also internally, physically and health, mentally, spiritually and financially. Spiritually is huge. You know, I know a lot of people who can have finance who hate themselves, they're fat, and I'm like, I don't want to be you. I love my internal state. My only job is to help people create the internal state I have created, because it's a very pleasant place to live when you're high frequency. Okay, becoming a high frequency individual will always attract you infinite amounts of wealth, but having infinite amounts of wealth won't create you high frequency. Okay, high frequency is created inside. That's what we do, guys. It's about living this one life you've got to the highest level. So habits and no vices. The second one, who you listen to. Someone that has already achieved the level that you want to go to. Someone that's ahead of you, that's already living and breathing it. The third thing is who you surround yourself with. Now this can be on social media, okay? Communities. Who else have you got around you who's on the same mission as you, right? Who's truly aligning their frequency to the level of results. My guys, I have guys jump in my program. We're on the weekly calls. They're like getting each other's Instagrams. They're messaging each other. They've made 10, 20, 30, 50, God knows how many new mates within an hour of guys around the world on the same mission as them. And they're more of a mate than a mate they've had. Like a guy they've known for 5 minutes is more of a mate than the guys that have been hanging around for 10 years because they're not your mates. They're doubting you. They're putting fear in your mind. They're pulling you back. They're trying to pull you down so they can continue loving themselves. Because they can't love themselves when you start taking more action and you start winning bigger. They want you back. You need to be around guys that want to grow with you. So those are the 3 things that you need to be a high frequency individual. And only when you become a high frequency individual do you create a high frequency life that will always have high frequency results, because the results are in a frequency, guys. When you see the world through this lens and you commit your entire life to mastering your frequency, your thoughts, beliefs, your habits and actions, and you become a real master of this, you create such a powerful energy and inner peace. You're never in a state of chasing. You always just have. You have ultimate faith. You never do anything from fear. People feel your energy when you go in a room. You become attractive. Your energy becomes attractive. You walk into a restaurant, people feel that you're there. Because all of that work that you've done, all of those inputs create a high frequency individual. High frequency energy is felt, guys, by every individual. Have you ever been in a room where someone who's really down comes in and it just puts you in a really bad mood? Or you may be at home and someone comes at home and they're in a bad mood, it just ruins your frequency. You're like, oh my God. Well, you can be the polar opposite to that, and that's your duty, that's your purpose. Self-actualization, become the best, most high frequency individual and give that back to the world, conscious or unconscious. And you will create a very good place internally and externally to live, as well as being attractive. Everyone wants the money, everyone wants the women. Why not just become high frequency? That's the only way you actually do it and love what you're doing. Let's get it, guys. Sat down today on the sofa. I tweaked my back a little bit in the gym this morning. Got an itchy hand. The tattoo is peeling. I will show you guys this fully when it's healed. A little bit later in the day, this video today. Thought we'd get some daylight in. Let's get it, let's go. I will see you in the next video, boys.